Show us how you ritz together for a
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do, to prove there's strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others failed to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
All right, y'all. Good evening. Thanks for being here, guys. Let me pull up the chat here. Hey, sorry, been on vacation for a while. So took a week off. Spent 3 days down in Florida, in Orlando, for my daughter's graduation. Shout out to Miranda Rico, my daughter, 17 years old, graduated high school. She'll be attending Valencia University. I'm really proud of her. It's pretty awesome. And going to her graduation, spending some time, going to see Cirque du Soleil a couple nights. It's an incredible show. If you live in Orlando, go see Cirque du Soleil. I know it's a little pricey. I know it's expensive to take the whole family. But if you can do it, y'all, do it. It was a great experience for myself. The beautiful Kim Jones went. We had a great time. And then, kind of slowed down our pace of life a little bit and went and hit the beach. We were on the beach for about 3 days in Melbourne, Florida, just south of Cape Canaveral and Cocoa Beach, and we had a great time. So if you didn't see the videos, go watch her channel. She's on TikTok. You guys will see her down here in the chat, Kim Jones. I don't know what she goes by on TikTok. It might be like Kimmy something. But it was a great time and a great vacation, and we're back. So we're on live tonight. I got a whole lot of transfer portal stuff to talk about. If I'm rusty, I apologize. I haven't done a live show in a little while. I might mess up a little. A lot of people to cover tonight. I might forget a few. I did take a ton of notes like, yo, I got this. And we'll see what happens. I do want to answer your questions. You guys already know. If you're driving the chat, you're driving the show. So if you're in chat on YouTube and you write a question, I will answer your question and we will go from there. I will bounce back and forth. I will cover 5 guys from the portal. Go to the chat, catch up. Go 5 more in the portal. Go to the chat and catch up. So if you want the show to continue on and keep going, all you got to do is keep asking questions. Make sure they're relevant questions. I'll warn you now, if you're asking about recruits, you're wasting your time. I'm letting you know. You're wasting my time and your time and everybody else's. But thanks for being here. Remember, everybody like, subscribe, do what you do. Watch the videos. Support us. If you're watching me rap in a video today, those are like over 10 years old. I don't rap anymore, but once upon a time I did. So shout out to those of you who are supporting the channel and watching everything I'm talking about. But we'll get started. We'll just get jumped into it. I'm not even looking at chat right now. I'm just going to talk about the breaking news. So the breaking news is the Heat and the Nuggets are playing in the NBA Championships. If you didn't see Game 7 last night, cool. You didn't miss much. It was a blowout. I'm surprised the crowd stuck around as long as they did. And it's all because Jason Tatum just took a shot and landed, twisted his ankle in the very first play of the game, and they were never the same again. It's pretty ridiculous. I was watching the game with Kim Jones, and we were like, yo, this is terrible. These guys can't play basketball. So shout out to the Heat during the finals. I'm letting you guys know now. I'm going to avoid this NBA Finals like it's COVID, okay, like it's the plague. I will not be watching this NBA Finals. I find it tremendously boring. There's nothing I like to see less. There's nothing I like to see. Wait, how can I say this? I would rather do anything else than watch Jokic play basketball. I'm not impressed with Jokic. I'm not a Joker fan. I don't like Butler, Jimmy Buckets. His whole claim to fame is he slept with a really mid sports reporter, okay? She's not thick. She's not pretty. I've looked at her from all angles. There's nothing impressive about this woman. Shout out to Jimmy Buckets for doing what he does. So, whatever. Hey, more important news. Way more important news. Shout out to Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is retiring from acting. He has a brain issue. Straight up frontal lobe dementia. It's going to get bad before it gets, any better. It's going to get worse. Shout out to Demi Moore for hanging in there. And, Bruce Willis, not only did he make the greatest Christmas movie of all time in Die Hard, but he has a really underrated movie catalog when you look at movies like Lucky Number 11. Lucky Number 11 is the best 80 minutes of your life. Like, it's a solid movie, brother. I remember watching that in Korea. I was just away from the United States for a while, and I was like, man, this movie just reminded me of home. I loved it. I think it was called was it the Kansas City Junction? Somebody let me know. Kansas City annexation. It was almost like the annexation of Puerto Rico, but nonetheless, it was Kansas City Shuffle, maybe something like that. Anyways, shout out to Bruce Willis. I want to tell you guys a true story. How famous is Bruce Willis? I was in Iraq, and I had a mission for the day where I had to escort. I actually had to make sure some LNs, local nationals, were being escorted. I was a platoon sergeant, so I put some of my soldiers on it, and they were escorting these local nationals around the base, doing some things. We did a lot of, let's just say, informant handling, humidors, snitches, bro. We handled the snitches, okay? So we had sources, and they would come on base, and then we would walk them to different rooms, and we'd have to pay them. And if we paid them for their information, they gave us things. I remember one guy gave us a pig because he didn't want to get caught snitching. He told us where some, explosive vests were, and he had to give us his biggest pig, so it would look like he sold his pig, and that's why he has all this money. But we were paying him money for snitching, so we had a pig. It was pretty crazy, and we actually had to have it. I had two of my soldiers from like Oklahoma skin it, hang it upside down, and everybody was loving this. We were eating pig and you don't know how big a pig is and how much you can feed people with the pig. It was nuts. But anyways, I was talking to these local nationals, and this dude walked up to me, and I swear to you, one of the guys, we called him Cowboy. He was wearing a cowboy hat. And he didn't speak English. He didn't talk to us. But he looked so American. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed American. And I said, man, this guy is not from Iraq, bro. This is a CIA agent. This dude's undercover, and he's just among all these dudes. There's no way he's from Iraq. And he wouldn't talk to us, and he was really quiet. And then one day, he finally talked to me in English, broken English. But he said, do you have your own home? And I said, yeah. He says, do you have cars? And I said, yeah, I got 2 cars. He said, you are a rich man. You're a rich man. I said, yeah, man. I mean, I'm not hurting. And at this time, I was a staff sergeant. I might have been making 3, 4, 5 grand, who knows, a month. But it's deployment. You're making real money, right? So he says all this to me. He says, you're a rich man. He says, where are you from? I said, man, I'm from California. He goes, Hollywood. Do you know Bruce Willis? Do you know Bruce Willis? He just started asking me if I knew Bruce Willis, bro. Because if you tell somebody from another country you're from California, they just assume you guys all know each other. Like, yeah, I seen him before, bro. We were walking down the street. We dapped it up. I don't know Bruce Willis. But that's a true story. These Iraqis couldn't say but 10 words of English, and one of them was, one of the two of the words were Bruce Willis. So shout out to him. Die Hard. That's my dude, Bruce Willis. I'm all for it. So cool stuff, cool stuff. All right, if you've been paying attention, the murder trial. This Rudolph guy. Now, I made a video about this. I gave a really hot take today, and all I said was, this is the end result of having poor relationships. Do not subject yourself to a substandard life. Do not have a terrible partner. And I went on this little story, this little tangent, and I had to get it done in 3 minutes. I didn't really go into detail on it. But it's true, man. You guys cannot date someone below your demographic. Like, you just can't. You need to have certain criteria and stay away from anybody not meeting your criteria. And I know people get lonely. I got a friend. And she's got a sister, and her sister's dating the scum of the earth. The scum of the earth. And she's subjecting herself to a terrible life because she's lonely. And you can't do it, man. And you had to know it was going to go bad. First date, dude doesn't have a car? No, this is not it, bro. He's going to come up with reasons why he can't pay the rent later. He's going to come up with reasons why he doesn't have a job. And why he can't follow through and come through. This is going to happen consistently in your life. The minute you lower your standard. And some of you guys are that low standard. And you're dragging people down. But I don't want to get in here and lecture people. I just want to tell you that's what's happening to Travis Rudolph here. He chose a partner that was the decay of society. Someone with no morals, no ethics. Someone who's going to call her brother to come flex on you, shoot your shit up, quote unquote. You go out there and you start making these decisions. And it's terrible. You cannot date people below your standard. You're going to have a terrible life. There are people being dragged down. You know, you ever been in a relationship with somebody who's controlling? You ever been in a relationship with someone who's controlling? It starts off subtle. It's not the first day. It's the second, third, fourth, fifth month where they just start going, okay, well, now you can only make phone calls when you're on speakerphone. You want to live that life where you can only make phone calls when you're on speaker so they know who you're talking to? Now you got to keep your location services turned on so they know where you're at all times? I understand full transparency. I don't understand people subjecting themselves to this level of control and toxicity. It is toxic. And toxica in the Hispanic culture, everybody it's the latest thing. This girl's toxic, man. I love her, man. Her love is toxic, man. She'll fight anybody. She's doing it. No, it's not cute, bro. It's childish. So now you got a guy getting an argument with your quote-unquote girlfriend to the point where she's calling up somebody to come shoot your shit up, bro. You can't be with women like that. You cannot be with women like that. And there are dudes the same way. The guy that I'm going to talk about tonight, there's a guy I'm going to talk about from UCF. He got a phone call from a girl he was hooking up with. And she said, come over. My boyfriend just tore off the jacket you bought me. Come over and let him know what's up. And he ruined his whole life for that girl. It happens all the time. People make poor decisions because they pick the wrong life partner. Stop associating with the scum of the earth. Stop associating with people beneath you. You know how you guys got all them dating profiles? This is why, let me give it to you guys straight. This is why I don't think women should own their own home. Real talk. I don't think women should own their own home. Because if you own your own home, you then lower your standard on who you're willing to date. Now you can meet a man who doesn't own a home. Because you already own one. So you don't care if he owns one or not. You'll move him in. You will lower your own standard because you don't need to provide for him. Or he can just live off you. Now you're like, well, I don't need this. I got him for this. I got him for that. Now you're driving this dude around. Now he can borrow one of your cars. But if you had your own apartment, I know you're losing money owning an apartment. But if you had your own apartment, then you're investing in your future. Because now you're going to meet a guy and you can move into his home when shit gets popping, right? When it goes well. I'm saying it. I'm letting you guys know now. If you meet somebody, women, and you live in an apartment and he has his own home, make that the prerequisite for dating somebody. Just talk to the guy. Be like, hey, do you own your own home? No, I'm renting right now. No, get out of here, bro. You're renting? You're not for me. I need somebody who owns his own home. Just raise your standards and don't relent. I know a woman who lowered her standards and regretted it 2 weeks in. But it was too late. I know a woman who let a dude move in to her place because he was due surgery and he couldn't go upstairs, so he needed to stay at her place where there was no stairs. This dude ended up staying there for 3 months longer than anticipated. He shit the bed one night, bro. She called me in the middle of the night, said, this grown man just shit my bed. What do? I said, get rid of him. She goes, I want to break up with him so bad. Why are you calling me, bro? Go handle your life. I'm just saying, guys. And this is funny, this is humorous, and I'm making a joke out of it. But in reality, the worst thing that can happen, they can associate you with criminals, with a lower caliber of person. I can remember the first time I went to a barbecue with this girl I shouldn't have been dating. I went to a barbecue. I went to the backyard and said, yo, I got a 6-figure job in the government with a top secret security clearance, and I'm back here with these people? My life's in jeopardy back here with these people. They're making poor decisions. Drugs in one corner, shooting guns in the air in the next, with an above-ground pool. The minute you walk to the backyard and you see an above-ground pool, you need to bounce, bro. You're in the wrong spot. You see an above-ground pool or a trampoline, you're in the wrong backyard. Get out of there. That's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying. I'm just keeping it real. Maybe a little too real, but it is what it is. I'm just letting you know. I'm not on trial for murder either. Just letting you know. You see a trampoline or above ground pool, you got to bounce. Hey, girl, I'm sorry, but you need to do better in life. Yeah, if we got to cross railroad tracks to get to your house, I don't want it, bro. I don't want it. Move. I get to your house and you got bars on the windows, I'm out. Call me what you want. I like to ask women straight up, hey, what's your HOA? And if they look at me like, what's a HOA? What's that? Is that an acronym for something? Is that shorthand? I'm being real. All right, so I'm going to get started on the transfer portal. I'm going to do 5 guys, and then we'll get into the chat, and we'll go from there. So check it out. Justin Brown from Mississippi State to Georgia Tech. This is the second transfer. Now, I'm going to make a video on Justin Brown probably later tonight or tomorrow. Justin Brown, he just enrolled at Mississippi State in the winter out of high school. He graduated high school early, enrolls early at Mississippi State. We just had Michael Daugherty do this. Daugherty did this at LSU. It was a safety. But he left after like 2 weeks. Michael Daugherty went to LSU for 2 weeks and said, I'm transferring, I'm out. Now, Justin Brown committed to Mississippi State when they were going to be the run and shoot offense that they do, the air raid, with Mike Leach. Mike Leach passes away, RIP, and Brown sticks to his commitment. He shouldn't have, but he did. He's a Tennessee kid from Murfreesboro, and he goes to Mississippi State for a couple months. He goes to spring ball, and he goes, hey, man, I need to get the hell out of here. They're not going to throw the rock nearly as much as I thought. And he's transferring to Georgia Tech. So this is not a guy, from the transfer portal that's going to immediately contribute at Georgia Tech. No way in hell. Justin Brown, this transfer right here, he's got 4 years, 5 years to play for. He's a developmental guy. This is like winning a recruiting battle. And what's crazy about this, he didn't have any offers from Georgia Tech coming out of high school just 6 months ago. Georgia Tech was not on his radar 6 months ago. And now they got him. I think that's pretty neat. Shout out to Brent Key, the head coach. Shout out to Chris Winkie. Shout out to everybody at Georgia Tech. They're pulling in talent. They're getting good players. And Justin Brown on tape, to me, looks clean, bro. Looks clean to me. I watched his whole tape. Go watch his huddle film. It looks nice. 6 foot, 183 pounds. I liked what I saw on tape. Jason Rodriguez, been at USC for a long time. Been at USC for 4 years. Got his degree. Now he's a graduate transfer, 2 years of eligibility. I want to tell you guys, he has 2 years of eligibility left. He's 6'5", 310. But this is not a USC caliber player. There was no way he was ever going to see the field. So don't get too excited when you see USC lineman signs where. Like, I don't know where he's going to sign. I don't know where he can go and contribute and play, but he's in the portal. Cool. I don't like to talk about guys joining the portal. I like to talk about people committing in the portal. All right, let's talk about it. Jacob Knuth is here. I talked about him for weeks, guys. I told you this is one of the best quarterbacks in the transfer portal. Prospects. One of the best prospects in the portal. This guy he's big. He runs a 4.6 40. Never lost a game in high school. Played at South Dakota. And for me, I looked at him and I said, okay, he got buried in the depth chart at Minnesota. It was year one. You redshirt the first year. Why the hell? What's the big deal? Why are you leaving? You're there. You redshirt. Cool. You got 4 years of eligibility left. You're a quarterback, bro. You're not going to start at Minnesota year one. Year two, you find out, man, I'm third or fourth string going into the spring. All right, he jumps in the transfer portal. Great prospect. I was super excited. Rumored to be going to Stanford. Didn't go to Stanford. They got Lamson out of Syracuse. They found their starter. I think he'll start. We'll see. And so now Jacob Knuth needs a school. And where does he go? K-State. Bruh, there's no reason for him to go to K-State. He can't start at K-State. And they have Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson, no relation to Avery Johnson, 4-star quarterback. He's a freshman. Complete stud. I don't see how Knuth beats him out. Maybe he thinks he can. But coming out of high school, remember, he's from South Dakota. Chris Kleiman, North Dakota State, former North Dakota State head coach. He knows all the Dakota schools. He knows all that area. He recruited the hell out of Jacob Knuth. And right on National Letter of Intent Day, he flips. He flipped to Minnesota. He was supposed to go to K-State. So now he's going to a school that he believes in. But I don't get it. Will Howard's there right now, the starter at K-State. If Will Howard goes pro, great. Will Howard can go pro this year after this season. Then you got Avery Johnson and Knuth battling it out. There are two other guys on that roster, though. There are two other guys on that roster that I just don't understand. Jake Rubley's ahead of him and another guy named DeLara or something like that. Adrian Lara. What are we doing? Don't understand the move. But I do understand that K-State has a very, very... Colin Klein? You guys know Colin Klein? Used to play quarterback at K-State. He's the offensive coordinator at K-State. He was making $600,000. Notre Dame wanted to pull him to be their offensive coordinator after Reese left. And he turned it down. He got a raise to $825,000. Colin Klein is a great quarterback in college. K-State hero. Colin Klein is getting a lot of interest. And they paid him more, and he can really recruit. And that's why Jacob Knuth goes. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. Did not expect to see that move. I think he's just going to waste a couple of years getting developed. It's not a waste at that point, but I don't think he's going to start at K-State. And if he does, that means Avery Johnson transferred out. This is between him and Avery Johnson. I don't know. Hey, Chris Kleiman doing his job. Get competition in the room. Get better players in your quarterback room. Don't be afraid of competition. And take what you can get. Shout out to Jacob Knuth for showing up. Shimon Cooper. I saw this coming, guys. Somebody go back and watch the linebacker video. Go back and watch the linebacker video I made. I could pull it up right now if I want to. And what I said about Shimon Cooper the first time. This is a 4-star player. Coming out of high school, 4-star linebacker. Goes to Illinois. You want to play for Ryan Walters in that Illinois defense, that vaunted defense. One of the best defenses in the country. players getting drafted out of this defense. Everybody knows they're great. You got a 4-star guy, been at Illinois for 4 years, can't play a lick of football. 6'2", 220, can't play football. 4-star guy, they got it wrong. They got it wrong. And I knew they got it wrong when I saw Ryan Walters leave Illinois, go to Purdue, and not bring a 4-star guy with him. Soon as Shimon Cooper hits the transfer portal, his old defensive coordinator doesn't call him up. Hey, Ryan Walters doesn't call him up and say, yo, bro, I'm at Purdue now. You can come start over here. We got you. No, he's been special teams guy for 4 years. He's not a Power 5 caliber talent, and he hasn't been. Everybody kept asking me in chat. They're like, "Oh, what about this 4-star linebacker? 4-star." I'm like, man, I wish you guys understood. They get the ratings wrong sometimes. They get it wrong sometimes, and they got it wrong here. Shimon Cooper is not him, and now he's going to Akron. Former 4-star guy. It's easy as can be. He's got 2 years of eligibility left, though. But the red flag for me was your old defensive coordinator, who's now a head coach, didn't give you an offer. So Shimon Cooper is not him. All right, one more, and then we'll go to chat. Jacob Wahlberg, speak of the devil. Jacob Wahlberg, leaving Purdue, leaving Ryan Walters and the boys. He's been at Purdue for a while. He's 6'4", 240. I don't know if he's fast enough to play anything. You know, he's one of these guys, he plays with a damn cowboy collar. You go watch the tape, he just looks like an old school linebacker. He looks like Darryl Johnston, the fullback from the Cowboys. He looks like Darryl Moose Johnston. He's got a damn cowboy collar, that neck roll thing, but the straight one. He's out here trying to look like, I don't know, Niall Diggs, A.J. Hawk, somebody. This is a Michigan kid. He was committed to Western Michigan 3 days before National Letter of Intent Day. He flipped to Purdue. And he went to Purdue. And that was back in 2019. I don't understand why. No, 2018. And now he's finally coming home. So he flipped, and then he changed his mind, and that's unfortunate. But now he's finally coming home. I think so. If you guys didn't know, Western Michigan got annihilated in the transfer portal. They lost their leading rusher, their leading tackler, and their leading receiver, all to Minnesota. Minnesota took the 3 best Western Michigan players, and then Florida State took Braden Fisk, defensive lineman, who all the recruiting websites said, best defensive end in the portal, blah, blah, blah. No, he's not. But shout out to them. But Western Michigan lost 4 of their best players to the transfer portal. So just getting a guy back is cool to get him back home. It'll help. He's added depth. Hopefully he can start. He's got great size. He actually played at Purdue somewhat. So we'll see what happens. There you go. All right, let's get to the chat. Shout out to you guys. Boom, boom. Rico, why didn't Roscoe transfer Roshan? Roshan transfer if he had sit behind Bijan that long. It makes no sense to me. Tommy Rose, I know you saw my TikTok comment, LOL, on live. Yeah, Tommy Rose, shout out to all the people on TikTok. When I'm doing my live streams, I do not answer their questions. They got to come in here in the chat. So thank you for coming on over. Shout out to all the MVPs who moved over. So Roshan Johnson showed up to Texas as a quarterback, a dual threat quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, moved to running back, got a lot of playing time his first year, and then from then on he was a backup to Bijan Robinson. One thing that people need to pay attention to, now he's with the Bears, is he was a 4th-round draft pick. He was a 4th-round draft pick as a running back. I'm telling you right now, why leave? Why leave? You're a 4th-round draft pick. Israel Abanikanda is in the ACC, starting at Pitt, rushed for 1,400 yards, and he's a 5th-round draft pick. You can go dominate at another school. You're not going to move up in your draft. They don't care if you play or not. They don't care about your production. They're drafting you on skills and traits. So just stay there, show great character, go the Jalen Hurts route, just be a good teammate. Jalen Hurts before he transferred. Be a good teammate. Help your team win. Do your best. And look, the Bears valued him. They see Matt Forte 2.0. Hey, be dedicated to your craft. I don't see any problem with it. Get developed. You got one of the best weight conditioning programs at Texas. You got amazing facilities at Texas. They develop running backs at Texas. You don't leave. You don't look outmatched. You don't look substandard every time you get on the field. Best player in the country plays your position, and every time he comes off the field, there's no drop-off. You're fine. It is what it is. Thoughts on Desmond Ridder? Do you see anything special? Schnitzel, I don't see anything special. I don't. No other thoughts on him, though. I see another Georgia Tech transfer. They should make a bowl game this season. You know, Schnitzel saying that kind of is just a loose thing to say. Like, I don't ever look at teams and go, yeah, they should make a bowl game this year. No. I got to look at their schedule. I got to look at their schedule and go, wait, can they win 6 games? You can't just randomly yell out, I think they're going to win a bowl game or they're going to a bowl game because of their transfer portal additions. You got to look at their schedule. What are we looking at? They got a hell of a game against Louisville. I want no part of that game for them. I don't see them winning that game. They're going to win. I got 1 win. 2. 3. 4. Possibly 5 wins. We can get crazy and say 6 if they beat Wake Forest on the road at Wake Forest. Possibly 6 games at best. So when you say they should go to a bowl game, I'm looking at 5 to 6 wins. I hope they get to 7. I hope they beat North Carolina. But they got a loaded schedule. Georgia Tech's got their hands full. That's one hell of an out-of-conference schedule for Georgia Tech. Ole Miss, Georgia. Out-of-conference, Ole Miss, Georgia. It's tough, bro. You don't go scheduling Ole Miss in Georgia. Saw where over 350 kids were at Colorado's camp today. Shout out to them. I know about 6 guys trying out for the team. They wrote to me in DMs on TikTok, so I'm really pulling for them. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, man, it's pretty exciting stuff. Good to have you back, bro. Been waiting on that Colorado talk. Shout out to you, Big LT. Yeah, shout out to the blind side. Make sure you hit that like button. Thank you, Miss Kim Jones. Shout out to you. What's good, Rico? What up, Jim? Shout out to Fresno State. It's hard to memorize everybody. Welcome back. Valencia, like Spain, that's sweet. No, Connor, Valencia is a university in Orlando. Congrats to your daughter and congrats on getting one through high school. Yeah, I got a couple more still in high school. Yo, I asked the question a little bit ago. Scroll up. Tommy Rose, I will always get to your questions. You never have to repeat them. We will never miss a question. Just ask it once. We will always get to them eventually. What do you think about Aiden O'Connell, and do you think he'll be quarterback number 1, assuming Jimmy G gets cut because of his ankle? Congrats on your daughter, brother. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for the congrats. Shout out to Miranda, graduating high school. I'm a big believer in Aiden O'Connell. After I saw his throughput and what they put on his shoulders at Purdue, the fact that he got them to the conference championship game, I like a lot of the things Aiden O'Connell does. Looks good on tape to me. I had him in my top 10. A lot of people frowned upon it. And then he got drafted in the 4th round. So maybe I know what I'm doing. Shout out to the NFL for knowing what they're doing. When people were telling me he was a 7th round at best, they thought he was going undrafted. Apparently not. We scout players the same way. Shout out to me and NFL scouts. You heard that Caleb Williams is going to Arizona to play basketball. I don't give a flying rat's ass about rumors. I don't care about rumors. Let me know when things occur. If we're talking about rumors, we're wasting our energy, our time. I'll never do it, guys. Why are you hating on Denver and Miami in the NBA Finals? I'm not excited about it. I find it boring. The 8th seed, a team with a losing record in the Eastern Conference. You want me to watch losers? That's bananas, bro. You want me to watch losers? I hope it's a sweep. 4 games to 0, and we can be done with it and move on with our lives. What, Rico? No offense. Love you, Rico. Never offended. Nice name. I've always got the best name. So true, man. That was me in Dubai. Haha. Oh, we're talking about the Iraqis? Okay. Thoughts on Dejoun Terry entering the portal? I really don't get too excited when players enter the portal. I let you guys know after they sign. Michael Daugherty, early enrolled at LSU, now in the transfer portal. Any news? No news whatsoever. Just sitting there. Zachary Franklin, crystal ball to Ole Miss. I don't care about crystal balls. I think he's going back to UTSA. If he's going to Ole Miss, they're paying him well. What do you want me to do? You're so dead. Shout out to you guys. Not owning a car doesn't mean you can't afford it. Try living in Boston or an old big city and try and find a parking spot. The pandemic gave me freedom of working from home, no need for a car. Shout out to you, Chris. Yeah, if I'm a single woman living in the city, or a single man, I want the person that can afford the parking. I want the person using parking garages and driving their car. I'm not joking. I used to date a woman. She lived in Queens, New York. She lived on Long Island. She drove a Mercedes. I know that you can take a cab to get around. I know that there's people who use bikes and don't need a car, work remotely. None of that has any bearing on my decision making. I'm picking somebody based on their ability to be elite. I want the upper echelon, or I'm not interested. It's just the way I get down. Because I'm not going to subject myself to your credit card bills or your hardship or whatever may be coming. This is why you're unmarried, Rico. Yeah, I could have married anybody by now. Could have married beneath me, below me all day long. There's 100 women I could have married. You don't do it, bro. I can remember I met a girl and she was like, oh, my house is on foreclosure. I was like, oh, you got really nice curves. Ain't got shit to do with marriage, bro. Letting you know now. Foreclosed nothing. Research before commenting on TikTok Live about AC Law. Shout out to AC Law, former Texas A&M point guard. Reasons he didn't pan out. Number 1, drafted by the Hawks with lead guards. No shit. Number 2, skill ceiling reach due to physicals. Okay, inconsistent three-point shot. Yeah, that'll fail every single time. LMA literally. Okay, shout out to you. Lack of discipline, NBA level discipline. Yeah, not following the plays. This last one wasn't necessarily his fault, but was still an issue. Killer college player, though. All the film points to a star. Yeah, sometimes the NBA is really awkward, bro. There's only 2 rounds in the NBA for a reason. Players aren't making the cut. They literally can't defend at an elite level. You need to have a certain amount of length. I can remember seeing a guard by the name of Reese Gaines coming out of Louisville. He got drafted by the Pistons, and he was a first-round draft pick, and I thought, man, this Reese Gaines kid can't play. Played in the league for so many years because of his height. Because of his height. Like, he was nothing special. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. Size is elite. So, yeah. Stretch 4s are out there all over the place. What did you think of CU's camp? Any notable players getting offered? Haven't checked, Chris. I don't try to guess things. I'm not on the cutting edge. I'm not sitting there waiting for these. Like, I'm not trying to break any news, guys. I react to things that occur after they occur. So I'll wait for the offers. I'll wait for the commitments, and then I'll talk about them after the fact. Don't really care if I'm the first one who makes a video about it or the last one. Don't care. I might make a video about Shiloh committing today or tomorrow. I'll talk about Shiloh Sanders' commitment tomorrow. How about that? I'll make a video about it. Breaking news. I don't care. I'm ready for the Raiders draft review. Okay, well, tell them to move to a city closer to the alphabet I'm on. Do you think the Nuggets will be the next dynasty? I feel they can be there. Main core locked up contractually, which is 4 to 5 starters, and there will be development. I think, Sean, I don't care. It's the NBA, bro. This dynasty talk is out of control. Oregon State is going to the playoff this year. Okay. Shout out to you. Is Oregon State really elite like that? I think they're a top 20 team. So all they got to do is win a little bit. I seen On3's rating of Colorado rankings. They said 3 wins is too high for CU. On3 doesn't know what they're talking about. 24/7 doesn't know what they're talking about. Rivals doesn't know what they're talking about. This is why I exist. This is why I am who I am. Those websites are trash. They talk recruiting, get it wrong all the time. They should not step into the world of predicting wins in the regular season. They should not step into the world of assessing the transfer portal either. They should talk about recruiting. That's what they've been doing for 20 years. They haven't gotten that right. You don't get to start having other conversations. Like, I wouldn't take financial advice from a homeless man or physical fitness advice from an obese person, right? I just wouldn't. So these websites that are always wrong, why in the hell are they talking to us about anything other than what they're supposedly experts at? I use these websites for the pictures because they got pictures of players. That's it. I only use them for pictures. I don't ever click on this shit to see any of the information behind it. I don't ever click on a single photo. I don't care. They don't have the information I'm looking for. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. And they want to now start telling you who's winning? Hey, Rico, you were correct about Sean Washington. He ended up at East Mississippi Community College. You guys, I cannot stress this enough. I am correct about 99% of the sports takes I give. For the last month, I have been screaming at you guys, Sean Washington is not who you think he is. He will not be at the FBS level. There's not a team out there that should be signing this kid. I've been screaming it at all of you. And you guys will all be, what about that Georgia kid? What about the kid with the big G on his helmet? What about Sean Washington? I think he's going to be going to USC or Colorado. I think we could really use him on the defense line. All this shit. And I sit here every night and go, Sean Washington, nobody. Sean Washington, not worth talking about. I already watched the film. I already looked into him. Not it. And Rico, you're crazy. That's a former Georgia guy. He's an NFL talent. And I'm going, no, bro. I watched it. I watched the starters go to the NFL. Bear Alexander hit the transfer portal. Should be a clean slate for you to go in there and start at this position. The fucking cupboard's bare, bro. It's your chance to start. Rico knows. Rico knows. Feels good, bro. Feels good. I'm sorry for the kid. Going to East Mississippi, I'm sorry. I knew it was coming. I apologize for predicting it, knowing it, putting it out there for the world. And for anybody who says, oh, we already knew that. We saw that coming. None of you are recording it, putting it on video, and staking your name and your claim to it. I do this shit for a living. Like, I'm on here every single day telling you guys, this is what I think, this is what's going to happen. Like, I just did a take on Jacob Knuth going to K-State, and I said, look, if he ever starts, that's because Avery Johnson transferred out. But I don't see him ever starting. Do you know how right I got to be? Because 2-3 years from now, something's going to happen in that regard, and I will have been right or wrong. And guess what? I'm right again. I'm right every time. But nobody cares to sit down and watch the I Am Right videos. They don't watch the I Am Right playlist because they're sick of people being right. They only want you to be wrong. They only want to try to shit on you when you're down. And I'm never wrong. This is why I'm standing tall. This is why I'm good every day. This is why I wake up and go, you know what? I feel like giving a sports take because I know I'm right. Shout out to me, man. Shout out to me. What up, bruh? Rico talked to Fresno State players Saturday. He's saying the quarterback from UCF is balling out. What'd I say? I said Mikey Keene will be the starting quarterback at Fresno State. I don't care who's in that quarter. And that quarterback room was stacked. 4 dudes in there. One transferred to A&M. One still in the portal in Robertson, the transfer from Illinois. I don't give a shit who's transferring there. Mikey Keene's a baller and taking lunch money. And who showed up? Mikey Keene. Who's right? Rico knows. Get with it. The people who don't watch me every day are uninformed. They just don't know. And they don't want to know. It is what it is, bro. At this point, it's getting old. I'm about to make I Am Right videos everywhere. Any chance Colorado picking up any more defensive line help in the portal? First and foremost, they don't need any help in defensive line. They have 15 transfers on the defensive line. Can we stop saying they need help in the trenches? They got 15 defensive linemen with multiple years of eligibility on each guy. It's not a game. Colorado's team is legit. If you were to compare their position groups to other teams' position groups, they measure up. They're good players. They already addressed all their needs. Every single position. I went through it. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, one of the best. Okay. Running backs. They got like 3 of them. Studs everywhere. Shout out to Alton McCaskill IV. Receivers. Their receiving core is just as comparable to anybody else. Speed for days, deep threats, everything you need. Offensive line. Got all conference guys to transfer in. Got multiple year starters. They're going to be starting next to each other. The continuity is insane. Savion Washington. Come on, bro. I can't even deal with you guys right now. They addressed every single position group. The front 7, stacked. Rotating 10 deep. The secondary. It's a who's who secondary. There's nothing. The only thing they need is a kicker. I'm not worried about a single thing about Colorado. They just need a kicker. They got a real team. Somebody better listen up. 3 wins, my ass. I'm letting you know now. And I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong. Boom. Does Charlie Jones emerge as the starting slot if Boyd gets traded? And do you think he can perform at the next level? So Charlie spelled L-I-E. And Charlie Jones doesn't need anybody to get traded. Charlie Jones is a hell of a football player. Go watch the tape. he's beating NFL corners all over the place. Go watch all his games. Just go to the schedule, look up Purdue versus whoever, start at the Syracuse game, and watch him roast Garrett Williams. Like, just watch him roast NFL draft picks. That man is real. Charlie Jones is the truth. He don't need anybody to get traded. He don't need nothing. He is going to be one of the top 4 receivers on any team he's on. It's a real player. And he can play. And he's fast. Rico, you're teaching us so much. We appreciate what you do. Thank you very much, East Coast Gridiron. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you're learning. I'm glad you're learning, bro. I'm learning. I learn as I go. It's the Kansas City Shuffle. My bad. You knew what I meant. Tom Brady coming back to make money on his investment in the Raiders if Jimmy isn't there. So what? I'm pretty sure it's Caleb Love from UNC, not Williams. Caleb Love transferring? Okay, for basketball. Yeah, he left. Where was he committed to? UNC? Was he committed to Michigan or Indiana? I don't remember. I'm pretty high on Grayson McCall for this upcoming season. What are your thoughts on him? So, Connor, I'm not very high on Grayson McCall. I think Grayson McCall just lost his coaching staff. He just lost his quarterback. He just lost – I'm sorry, not his quarterback, but his quarterback coach, his offensive coordinator, and his head coach. He lost his entire coaching staff. So now he's playing with a new coaching staff. His receivers are okay. They're okay, but he lost his center. He lost Stewart, one of his best defensive players. I think Coastal Carolina is going to have a down year. Let me just put it out there. I think they're going to have a down year. Grayson McCall can really play some football. I like him, but I also think he's a product of the system. I think the system was very advantageous to him, and I just don't see it. I don't see him having a better year this year than he did last year or the year before. Now, he's a good player, but I'm not like high on him. I don't think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, but, shout out to him. Evening, Steve. Good to see you, brother. Thoughts on Micah Wing from Rutgers, who's in the portal? Yeah, he's been sitting in the portal for a little bit. Not too long. He got in there pretty late. Nothing really to say. I mean, you're leaving Rutgers. Where are you going to go? That's already one of the worst teams in the Power 5. Where are you going to go? Zach Canute scored 10 on his combine score. Does that translate into superior tight end play for the Jets, or do you think he's a bust? So I don't like to say somebody's a bust. Zach Canute was a later round draft pick. He's 6'8". It's easy to be very athletic and score off the charts when you're 6'8", bro. You can do some shit. You look the part. But he was a transfer to ODU. So he's not group of 5 talent. He's Power 5 talent. So just remember that. The guy's a real player. So we'll see what happens. I don't like to label people busts. I don't like to hype anybody up. I don't live in that world. So shout out to you. Sorry, my nose is itching. AC Law, a.k.a. Captain Clutch, did win 2 EuroLeague titles in Greece. Shout out to him. Shout out to him, man. I'm a fan. Find out he's doing research. He had severe knee injury. Okay. Colorado has a 5-star kicker. What are you talking about? Nubian. No. I know what I'm talking about. I've seen Alejandro Mata kick since high school. I've seen Feely kick and miss everything. I know the roster, dude. Don't do that. You're just yelling out stars. I don't care about stars. Stars mean nothing to me. Get on campus and show me what you got. Let me see you at practice. This is why I don't do recruiting. This is why I do the transfer portal. Those stars ain't shit. So no. Thoughts on how JSU is going to do post-prime? I like everything they're doing. I think they're going to be second in the SWAC. I think they'll be second to A&M this year, to FAMU, Florida A&M. But I like what they're doing. I like them. What do you think about McCaskill winning the starting back position coming off his injury? ECAT, there is no competition for the running back position. There's no competition. What are we doing? Why are we trying to say there's competition for a position when there's a guy who scored 16 touchdowns in one season? I don't give a shit about no injury. This is a guy who legitimately rushed for over 900 yards. That's tangible. That's real. That's yards. This is not some, hey, let's go try out some shit. It's like when people told me, well, do you think Zachary Franklin can be a starting wide receiver and ready to compete for a wide receiver at Colorado? What are you talking about? He has more production than all those receivers combined. There are guys who have actually played this game and done it on a Saturday against other people, and then you guys are talking about people with hype, people with potential. Come on, man. You guys, this is why it bugs me when they say Baker Mayfield is competing with Kyle Trask. I'm like, you realize Baker Mayfield's thrown for over 100 touchdowns in the NFL? Kyle Trask never thrown one. Baker Mayfield started 67 games. Trask not one. Like, it's not a competition. That's a joke, bro. That's not real. There's no competition for running back. No, Alton's not losing the job either. What are you guys talking about? There's no competition for the job. It's his job. He's not losing it to anybody. He's not competing for it. It's his job. Dylan Edwards better hope he doesn't get redshirted. Hankerson, get redshirted. We don't need you. We just let this guy run the rock and fucking Smoke will back him up. You guys, man. When you get bona fide studs, there is no tryout. This is why Shedeur Sanders doesn't need other quarterbacks on the roster. He's a 3,000-yard passer. There's no tryouts. This is crazy, bro. You guys talk nuts, bro. Makes sense. I'm not high on Coastal Carolina, but I am on player McCall. Your logic is sound, though. Yeah. Who do you think starts quarterback week 1 for Bama, if not Milroe? No, I don't think he should have sprung after spring ball. No, I don't. Because I don't know where he would have gone. I don't know who's valuing Milroe. But Buckner's going to start. Hammer that like button. Thank you very much. Colorado doesn't have a kicker. We know. Yeah, that's what I meant. He's not losing that starting position. Shout out to you, Zion. He was a dog while playing at Houston. Way more than a dog. Rico be fired up. My bad. 44 for 43 isn't good enough for you. Not trolling. No, not at all. Not at all. Nubian, no. His kicks are low. The misses are blocks. His kicks do not get up high enough at the line of scrimmage. They get blocked at the line of scrimmage. They just don't have enough elevation. It's a bad fundamental thing for a kicker. He doesn't. His career long is 43 yards. Career long is not even. It's not long. It's not it, bro. For Milroe, name the 5 hardest positions in football. Number 1 would be center. I think center is the hardest position in football. Then I think quarterback. Center, quarterback, probably corner. 1, 2, 3, corner. Give me left tackle. And then probably kicker. Those are your 5. 5 most difficult. Could be a rough year for Bama. I think Bama's losing 3 to 4 games. I think it's a rough year for Bama, period. So you buy the Travis Hunter hype, then just ask. I've seen him play for 3 years, 4 years now. Dang, I hate that it's so much talent. Players getting redshirted, but I guess it's for good. Yes, it's 100% for good. Middle linebacker's not that hard to play, I don't think, just because you have a lot around you helping you. You have defensive linemen in front of you, keeping linemen off of you. You have other outside linebackers trailing, filling the gap. You could miss a tackle. Somebody else is going to make the tackle. You don't have much responsibilities in coverage. I think middle linebacker's straight compared to some of the others. He's working on getting his kicks up higher. Folks forget the kid was a freshman at JSU and didn't have a true kicking coach. No, nobody forgets that. I watch it all. I've been watching him since Buford. So I don't forget it. When I make my assessments, I put a lot of thought into it. I don't just hang out and call it a day. Anyways, let's get back to the transfer portal. I'll get back to your guys' questions. Let's go here. Sorry. So let's talk about it. Howard Brown transferring from Iowa State to Boise State. If you guys haven't seen the video, Howard Brown was a high school quarterback. A 312-pound high school quarterback. Howard Brown. Let's go pull it up. Howard Brown 24/7. Let's see if I can get it up here. Oh, pause. Let's see if I can pull up the video. Most of his tape is at defensive tackle because they wanted him to be a defensive tackle. But let me see if I can shrink myself. There we go. So, yeah, they're going to show you his defensive tackle tape. But I'm sure at some point in this tape, he plays quarterback. This is a 300-pound guy. Oh, my God. It's beautiful, guys. 300-pound quarterback. Here he goes. Where's he at? Oh, no, he's still on defense on these clips. I don't like the clips where he's on D because he's slow off the ball. I want you guys to see the man run with the rock. These aren't them. You got to go to his Twitter. You got to go to somebody's Twitter. Howard Brown. This is him right here. Top 10 plays. Oh, it's not going to play these. Oh, no, we can't have audio. We can't have music. I apologize. Well, when you guys get a chance, go look up Howard Brown. I apologize. Go look him up. 300-pound quarterback. And he runs like the wind. He's so cool. Rushed for 4,000 yards, and rushed for 3,000 yards, threw for 4,000. High school quarterback. And, he redshirted last year. Now he's transferring to Boise State. He's still a defensive tackle. Pretty cool dude. So I like him. That's one. Cool beans. George Udo. Now, George Udo, I don't understand this move at all. Going from BYU to Cincinnati, he flipped. He was committed to Charlotte. And he flips to Cincinnati. Now, guys, Cincinnati's just filling out their 85. And they go and grab an extra defensive back. But for him to flip to Cincinnati is crazy to me. Sorry, my dog is barking. We can't have that. Here she goes. She's grumbling. She's mad. It's his last year of eligibility. 6'1", 200 pounds, grad transfer. And George Udo, to me, doesn't seem like a big play guy. He had a visit to Minnesota set up. But he wasn't even offered by Minnesota. He was just going because he knew they needed DBs. Come on, sweetie. He's been playing nickel and safety. He's just been one of those guys. 37 games, 4 starts. 37 games, 4 starts. He's all special teams. Nothing special about this guy. Had offers from ODU, from NAU, FCS schools, Utah Tech, Southern Utah, Ball State, and then you go and say, I'm going to go to Cincinnati. I don't think he plays. Last year, and I think he's at best a nickel option. I'm letting you guys know now. This is one of those guys that I look at and go, nah, you didn't do it right. You valued the wrong things. I don't agree with this move. And the only person who made a worse career decision, hold on one second. The only guy who made a worse career decision is right next to him in Harrison Bailey. Harrison Bailey taking a preferred walk-on to Louisville. And if you go read anywhere, they're going to say former 5-star quarterback, former SEC quarterback, former this, that. I don't give a flying rat's ass what he was. I'll tell you what he is. He's a guy who couldn't start at UNLV. All right, so coming out of high school, he was a part of that state championship team at Marietta. Everybody talked about him. They were the greatest team ever. It was him and Eric Gilbert and a bunch of other complete studs. Ricky White, who's at UNLV. Their running back's at Troy right now. I just made a video on him like 2 weeks ago. He rushed for 1,200 yards. They had a team of studs. All of them, except for Vidal at Troy, the running back. All of them are busts. Ricky White's doing okay at UNLV. I like him. He was the leading receiver last year. But Harrison Bailey went to Tennessee, couldn't start there. Transfers to UNLV, couldn't start there. Because there's a guy named Brumfeld. Can outplay him from Inglewood. He's got 2 seasons left. And you take a preferred walk-on to Louisville because you believe in Jeff Brom? Okay, cool. You're not it, bro. I'm telling you, he's never going to see the field. Except in blowouts. Jack Plummer's the starter. He's coming over from Cal. It's his final year. And then they got Brady Allen coming in. And Brady Allen's transferring from Purdue. Brady Allen is Jeff Brom's guy. That's his recruit. Brady Allen's built the same way as Harrison Bailey. Younger, stronger. Hasn't even had a chance to fail yet. Harrison Bailey's already failed. This guy should have transferred to the FCS. But he's overvalued himself. Being a preferred walk-on, he's essentially probably got a silver spoon at this point. Don't even care if he's got to pay for school. And he's using and wasting years of eligibility. You know where I thought he would go? I thought he would go to ODU. He could have started at ODU. They just lost their quarterback to Western Michigan. He could have went to ODU. But he's got to go. He's going to stay at the Power 5 level. You couldn't start at UNLV. You think you're going to start at Louisville with 4- and 5-star quarterbacks there? Oh, I'm a 5-star quarterback. They once told me that. Bro, you are not him. Terrible decision. And I call it out. I call it like I see it, guys. There are some players who cannot get off their high school recruiting, their star label. He's a 4- and 5-star guy. No, he's not. He's a complete bench warmer who couldn't see the field anywhere. And now he's walking on to Louisville. The biggest waste of space I ever seen. Unless he wants to be a coach, Unless he has aspirations of being a coach, this is a hell of a move if you want to be a coach. Congrats. If I see him as a graduate assistant, then I stand corrected. But this move makes zero sense to me. Zero. Shout out to Rivals for not knowing what the hell they're doing. Jalen Myers, I've already made a video about this, by the way. Jalen Myers is not in college football. Jalen Myers graduated college football 2018 from Pittsburgh State, Division II. Jalen Myers used to play at West Virginia. Transferred from West Virginia to Pittsburgh State. He was a JUCO guy. I think he played at Hutchinson JUCO. But here we got Jalen Myers. This isn't Jalen Myers, though. This is Jalen Shelton. That's the picture. They got the name wrong. And he did transfer to Texas State. He's not alone, though. They don't even have it up on the roster here. But his teammate from Western Michigan also transferred. Caleb Coleman also transferred to Texas State. So it's a two teammates from West Virginia transferred in the secondary to Texas State on the same day. And Rivals isn't even tracking it, and then they got the wrong guy. They put a guy who hasn't played college football in 5 or 6 years. I'm not joking. This is Jalen Shelton in the picture. They got the wrong name. And yes, Jalen Shelton here, junior college from Tyler Junior College. He played there for 2 years. He's from Texas, West Rusk, Texas. Same place as, who are those kids who just transferred from Colorado? I forget their names. The quarterback who transferred from Colorado. His dad played in the NFL. His uncle played in the NFL. I'm forgetting their name right now. But going to Texas State, take back Texas. Shout out to you. Texas State getting a ton of transfers late. G.J. Kenny doing his thing. That's 4. Here's the 5th one. Josh Wallace. You better brace yourself, Michigan fans. You better brace yourself, Iowa fans. Josh Wallace leaving UMass already has an offer from Michigan, from Iowa, Oregon State, Oklahoma, Virginia Tech, Michigan State, Penn State, Indiana. Everybody's offering this guy, and he's not that great. I've watched the tape, 36 games, 3 interceptions, 41 tackles. I mean, I've watched him last year, 41 tackles, 3 interceptions. I watched him, 3-star guy from DeMatha Catholic, and I just go, he's okay. Wherever he's 6 foot 190, wherever he goes, he's going to be a nickel corner at best. But he's getting offers from all the biggest schools, and I hope he doesn't take it. I hope he understands that he's getting offers not because he's a first option, not because they want him. He's getting offers because they have scholarships left over, and they just want to fill them. They either give it to a walk-on or they give it to him, and they'd rather give it to him for 1 year, rent him out, but it's his last year. What are we doing? It's going to go somewhere, bro. Should have stayed at UMass. I like their defense. They're upgrading. They got a ton of players in the transfer portal. Should have stayed at UMass. Back to the chat. Dang, I hate that it's so much talent. We got that. I bought the Travis Hunter hype as soon as he flipped to JSU and wanted to be coached by the best to ever play his position. That shows it all. He's chasing greatness. Marcus, I don't believe that hype. Coach Prime is not teaching him how to play the position. Coach Prime is the head coach, not the corners coach. The corners coach is Kevin Mathis, former NFL teammate of Coach Prime's. But when people sit around and go, yeah, they want to be coached by the greatest, like all Coach Prime is doing is organizing all the other position coaches. He's not sitting there teaching them how to backpedal and how to read defenses and read offenses and read routes and jump routes. Like, have you watched practice? Charles Kelly is the defensive back. He's the one teaching all the safeties what to do and where to line up on a hash. It's Charles Kelly and Kevin Mathis. It's not Coach Prime. Coach Prime is the head coach. That's what they sell you. Oh, come play for the greatest corner of all time. You want to be a corner? Look at this guy. We'll teach you how to be a corner. All Coach Prime's going to tell you is be a dog. Work hard. Go lift weights. Keep grinding. Compete. This is how I became a professional. Coach Prime can't teach you how to run a 4.240. Coach Prime can't teach you. I wish people understood. It's just a sales pitch, bro. Kid played high school in KC. Yep, yes, he did. 312-pound quarterback. And he's running the rock. No one wants to tackle him. Did I talk about DeMario King at ODU? Why would I talk about him? What are you talking about? Think he went to Lincoln Prep, which is right next to Arthur Bryant's barbecue? Okay. Pro tip, folks. There you go, Steve. What you think about Peyton Thorne transfer? I really don't think about Peyton Thorne transfer. I don't understand it. He's not that great. He didn't stick out to me ever. I've never thought he was good. Transfers to the SEC because backup quarterbacks and average quarterbacks can transfer to the SEC and become starters. So shout out to him. One of many. But I don't think he's that special. I think he has a lot of good weapons. Good coach. We'll see what happens. What do you think about Shahid Ahmed, famous for winning destroyings one-on-ones with a Halloween mask? So, Shahid Ahmed, I watch the one-on-ones, and I watch destroying, and I watch the competitions. I don't put a lot of value into them. They're not in a team setting. There's just no rhyme or reason to it. It's just good fun. It's entertainment. Go do it. Shout out to you. I'll tell you that when I watch tape, the kid pops, looks good, and I leave it at that. Why you steal my apple pie off my window ledge? You alley cat. Okay. What is Neil Brown doing? I think he's trying to win. I think he's trying to save his job. He's doing his best in the transfer portal. He did really well in the transfer portal, especially in the spring. They got some studs in the spring, so shout out to West Virginia for actually closing pretty strong. I think there's some dysfunction publicly, but internally I think they're okay. I think a lot of it's just rumor trying to get him ousted. But if Ken Kendrick does not want to have him fired, he will not be fired. And if you don't know who Ken Kendrick is, he owns the Diamondbacks, the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's also the biggest donor and booster for West Virginia. He's a billionaire. And Ken Kendrick will decide who the head coach is at West Virginia. So there's that. My wife made me apple pie. Okay. Lewis looking for the boot. Please do. He's not sitting teaching them how to backpedal. Exactly. If you, Colorado, go 9-3, that a big if will Coach Prime be considered the greatest football coach of the greatest and would consider. All right, go 42. Stop with your questions. That's absurd. I only referenced the one-on-ones because that's where I know him from. Best that he didn't play a lot at Marshall, so I was curious if he's legit or not. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is, like, it's cool to watch the one-on-ones, and I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is I put no value into it. When I watch film and I watch tape, certain players just don't fit well into systems and get opportunities that they would imagine. Remember Horton, E.J. Horton? They were all talking about him from Marshall as well, 4.3 40, blah, blah, blah. And I just never got excited about him. Never once said anything positive about him. I was just like, okay, heard he runs fast. I watch the tape. I don't get down like that. Elijah Higgins can successfully make the transition from wide receiver to tight end for Miami and be relevant. I think he'd be relevant. I think they're doing what they can. I'm not too excited about it. More power to him. I don't think Miami's doing much of anything right, but that's just my assessment. But I crystal ball can make winners out of nobody. Duquesne running back Billy Luke is transferring to Liberty. Yeah, Seth, I think Liberty doesn't need any more running backs, and people keep going. People keep going. I don't understand it. Liberty's pretty loaded at running back. Their room is stacked. Rico, what up? He transferred to Texas State, too. Do you pay any attention to Division II, Division III players? T, if they transfer to an FBS school, I go back and watch as much tape as I can find on them, but I don't necessarily follow Division II and Division III football because I cover 133 FBS teams. So I don't know all the Division II and III players. Do I know the big ones? Yeah. Do I watch Grand Valley State and Ferris State? Of course. But I don't really get down and in the weeds on Division II. I watch Newberry because of Mario Anderson Jr. Right? If I see a transfer from a Division II school, I will then go back and watch all the tape on them as best I can. Coaches in the hot seat. I've talked about this. I believe Tom Allen's going to get fired at Indiana, so he's in the hot seat. I believe Jimbo Fisher's in the hot seat. I believe Neil Brown's in the hot seat. Those are big three for me. And some of these ones that nobody's talking about, I think Mike Gundy's in the hot seat, especially if they have a down year given their schedule. They play all the new Big 12 teams in a row at the end of the season. They should be winning every single one of those games. So, Mike Gundy, if you lose, you're on the hot seat. That's how I feel about some of those. Yeah, Gundy's seat is warm to me. What do you think of Ole Miss's secondary now that they picked up Kennedy, Saunders, Walton, and others? Yeah, I think Kennedy's not going to be able to play this year. I think they're still hurting. They have a good defensive backs coach, and I was going to get to them and talk about them after I go through Josh Wallace here. I have some more guys to talk about, and I'll eventually get to why I feel the way I do about Ole Miss and their secondary and what they're doing. But one guy you guys need to know is Kenoto Hudson. Kenoto Hudson is the corners coach at Ole Miss, and he's a great recruiter, and that's why they're getting all these players. So just something to think about. Just something to think about. Would you transfer to play a different position, i.e. Liberty running backs? I don't understand what you're saying. What do you think of Ole Miss secondary now that they picked up? Yeah, I just think that they got a good coach, and they're going to do well. They're going to get a lot of interceptions. They really do have a good coach. But I don't think they got an upgrade this offseason. I think they lost some talent. Is Mauro Cristobal in the hot seat? No, not at all. Not in the hot seat, no. What do you know about Chris Walton Newberry? Apparently CU offered him as a walk-on today. Nothing. I haven't looked at Division II yet. I'll have to go back and watch the tape. So I have to put in Mel Tucker isn't hot. Mel Tucker should be unemployed. I apologize. So Mel Tucker's hot. Butch Jones is hot. Hellfree at Boston College is hot. So there's 3 more. It's hard for me to do the whole country all at once. Super hot. Any Texas Longhorns news or updates? Yeah, they're a really good football team. Random question. Do you think the university to pro pipeline system in the U.S. of sports is the best system for talent in sports? In Europe, there is no need to study to become a pro. Love from London. All right, so a lot of what people don't understand is the European sports don't require a physical maturation. You can play soccer and basketball at a professional level as an 18 and 19-year-old. You really can. You can't do that with American football. Not a chance in hell. It requires physical maturation. It requires you to grow and gain muscle and be stronger. It's just impossible. There is no 6'3", 225-pound high school wide receiver walking around. They're all 6'3", 180 and got to keep lifting weights, and in about 4 years they'll be ready. And that's the reality of the situation. Linemen, everybody. You just need to develop physically, and it's going to take some time. That's why there's the process that we have. That's all there is to it. Thoughts on Colorado going back to the Big 12? It's floating around. Steve, I don't talk rumors. When it happens, it happens. I'll talk about it then. Jimbo, a little hot. Super hot, bro. Especially with guys like Zach Kitley being available, Joey McGuire, Cliff Kingsbury. Like, there's guys available that can take that job. What Elko's doing over at Duke, this is going to get somebody else hired. How many years away are Rutgers? Joey, I think they're 3 years away, 4 years away, unfortunately. And that's if they believe in Schiano and they keep Circolo around their new offensive coordinator. They got to just hang in there. They got their guys. They know who's good. They know what they're doing. You got to find a 5-star, 4-star quarterback and not miss. Wimsatt is not as good as advertised. You got to find somebody else. Wimsatt was atrocious in the spring game. I watched him. His accuracy is gross. Now, it was raining, but he was bad. I've watched some throws look Anthony Richardson-esque, just in the dirt, just bad. Sarkisian is not in the hot seat. What the hell? Sarkisian is golden, bro. That guy's amazing. That's nuts. Not everybody's going to win the national title every year. That's crazy. There's only 5 coaches won a national title. What's up next? If you know the running back room at Liberty is full, would players transfer to Liberty to play another position if running back room is full? Yeah, they have scholarships available. A ton of players are trying to transfer there. The Big 12 will be fun if they join. Okay. You need that adult strength to mess around in American sports. Very true. Steve, I took care of him. All right, thank you. I just put him in a corner. Yeah, I don't know what he was. Deshaun Gaddy, first team All-Conference USA, is a player to watch for Ole Miss. He came late, but he's there now. So, no, he didn't come late. He just had to finish his semester at North Texas. He's still a good player. He's been fine. He's a good football player. The problem is they lost like 3 really good DBs, and they lost their corners coach. You can't lose your corners coach and not have any hiccups. It's continuity. It's just an issue. You're bringing in a bunch of new guys trying to learn from your new coach. They lost their corners coach to Purdue. So it's just a process. Would you pick Texas to win the Big 12 next year? Yeah, sure. I have them. It's either them or Texas Tech. But, yeah, that's fine. I had Coastal coach and Georgia Tech coach are on the hot seat. No, Georgia Tech just got a brand new coach this year, Brent Key. He is definitely not on the hot seat. He's dominating the transfer portal. He's done well in recruiting. He just got hired this year. Wrong. Clemson transfer portal update. Clemson does not use the transfer portal. There's nothing to update. They got one player in the transfer portal. They dropped 13 scholarships in the transfer portal, which is great for them. But they don't need to gain anyone. No team needs to gain players from the transfer portal if they keep their recruiting classes. What's the last day that day they can transfer and play this season? It's going to be sometime this summer, Seth. I want to say it's after. Do you know what the drop by date is? So, like, if you start school in the fall, if you don't start attending classes by a certain date, you will get dropped from your school, from your class. That's the last day you can join to play football this season. So, let's say it's 3 weeks in to your fall semester. You can still go and transfer to the school and play. But then you need to do your waiver for immediate appeal and immediate approval. And Day-Day's going to have to sit out a year. Just being real. He's going to have to sit out. He's not a graduate transfer. He's going to have to sit out. Texas Tech getting a lot of hype. Any reason for the hype? Yeah, Joseph, they crushed Ole Miss in their bowl game. They are a 9-win team. They have returning starting quarterback. They have Dre McCray at wide receiver, just transferred in from Austin Peay. They have an amazing head coach. They have the best offensive coordinator in the country in Zach Kittley. Yeah, Texas Tech is real. There's a reason they're where they're at. They're very good. Do you follow Monmouth University at all? Do you know Jaden Sheridan, 1,700 yard, 13 touchdowns? So I went back and watched Monmouth only because Tony Muskett transferred from there. Didn't notice their running back. I was looking for only passing down, so I apologize. No. Can we eliminate position room convos, generational talent, and who is the long snapper from your convos? Stop it. Hey, Day-Day. Hey, Day-Day. Hey, Day-Day. Hey, Day-Day. All right, back to the transfer portal. You guys are hilarious, by the way. Let's go. So, Corey Robinson transferring from Oklahoma to SMU. Number one, there's a hell of a bag there, right? There's a hell of a bag. Because SMU's been accused of paying everybody a ton of money. But he was committed to Arizona State. So he flips. I didn't understand it. When I knew something was up because he took a trip to TCU. But to hear SMU is beating TCU, is beating Arizona State, that's really good for a group of 5 team, and they got a ton of transfers. And this is a good transfer. This man plays football. Now, they also, Calvin Thibodeau, is the defensive line coach at SMU. He was just the defensive line coach at Oklahoma in 2021, I think. Or last year. 2021. I don't remember. Recently. So he's just going to follow his defensive line coach. So shout out to him. Good move. Good get for SMU. They got themselves a Power 5 player, and they beat out a lot of other schools for him. Shout out to SMU winning another recruiting battle. The Pony Express. Jaden Kennedy, my boy, next man up. I tell you, he's one of the best players in the transfer portal. Did have a torn ACL this year, but before that torn ACL, this is one of the top 100 players in the country. Runs over 22 miles per hour, extremely fast. I know he's coming back from injury, but this young man, I talk to him in my DMs. We talk one-on-one all the time. I just believe in this man. And after watching all his tape, his second play from scrimmage in college, interception. He's a ball hawk. He had 9 interceptions his senior year in high school. He just always finds the ball. He's a stud. 4 interceptions his freshman year. One of the leading tackles, 55 tackles as a true freshman. It's just incredible what I've seen him do on tape. I really like everything he did, and to go to play for, a new corners coach. The reason he left Tulane is because he lost 3 of his coaches. Lost defense coordinator, lost corners coach, secondary coach, whatever. He lost 3 of his coaches, 3 of his 4 coaches. So you go get a clean slate, and you go to a team that believes in you. And like I told you guys, Kenodo Hudson is the corners coach at Ole Miss. He can recruit and coach his ass off. He was at USC as a corners coach or a defensive assistant. That's where he met Lane Kiffin. Then he leaves. He goes to Illinois in 2020. He's coaching at Illinois. Corners coach. And we know Illinois' vaunted defense. All these guys just got drafted in the first, second, third round. He was the corners coach there. And then he transfers to Western Kentucky. They lead the country in interceptions. They were top 3 in interceptions. Come on, man. They had 32 total takeaways. He's a stud. Hell of a coach and recruiter. And they got Jaden Kennedy here. I love everything about it. Great move for the kid. Great move for the school. Jaden Dotton here, wide receiver. You know, Jaden Dotton, for me, I never saw anything on tape that said this guy's great. 6'2", 200 pounds. I watched him on tape. He started one game against Ohio. He only had 2 receptions, 14 yards. That was his first start ever. He's from Massachusetts. And when I saw him jump in the transfer portal, I just went, well, this is a guy. He kind of took it personal because Penn State did not care that he was next up and going to be the starter. They went and threw Dante Cephas from Kent State. They got him from the transfer portal in the winter. They got Dante Cephas and McLean from Florida State. And then he's just sitting around going, okay, well, they just took 2 more guys in my position. I need to get the fuck out of here. So, not a burner on tape. Not a burner on tape. One thing that's crazy is he had an offer from Toledo back in 2018. So, he was recruited by Toledo. But when I watch him on tape, he doesn't look insanely fast. And it was a lower level of competition. So, going to Toledo kind of makes sense to me. Kyrie Moiston. This one doesn't make sense to me. He's a defensive lineman. He's going to be across from – do you guys know who Daniel Grzaniak is? Daniel Grzaniak. I'm saying his name wrong. The kid from Utah State. He led Utah State in sacks. He just transferred from Utah State to Cincinnati. His tape is nice. Well, he's going to be starting – these 2 guys are going to be rotating, but this guy's just coming to back up at Cincinnati. Be in the rotation, cool. I don't understand it. Cincinnati's cleaning up. They're getting anybody they can. But this man right here, 6'5", 240, and when I watch him on tape, he just doesn't play that big, that fast. He just doesn't look good. He had an offer from North Carolina A&T. He should have took that offer and went and balled out at an HBCU. That's what he should have done. I don't see him playing much at Cincinnati. I just don't. He's got 4 years. 4 years of eligibility left. He just redshirted once at Virginia Tech. I don't get it. And we'll see the last guy right here. Jalil Rivera-Harvey. I like him. He's cool. Nothing to write home about. But I watched him. He was born in Buffalo. Played high school ball in Texas. He went to East Los Angeles Community College. Played, I think that's Last Chance U in the later seasons. Had an offer from Kent State, La Tech. And then you get this one here. Cool. I saw his bench press. He bench pressed 225 30 times. So he did the NFL draft bench press competition. He wasn't going into the draft. He's 6'2", 310. So he's a defensive lineman, and he can do 30 bench press reps at 225. He's strong. But I don't know. There's some videos of him doing some footwork, some Bambi shit. But I've seen this guy last season, 2 tackles all season. 2 tackles all season. I don't know. Marshall probably got a guy for the rotation. Congrats to him for finding another school. But I'm not sold on him like that. I'm just not. Let's go to the chat. Day. SMU setting itself up for Pac-12 membership. How about Pac-12 championship? Yeah. Shout out to them. Let's not forget Clemson's new offensive coordinator, Lincoln Riley, brother Garrett Riley. So you got it backwards, GOAT 42. And Garrett Riley got a hookup. He's got no track record of being good. He's got no track record. If there's anything, his track record is very mid. I've studied Garrett Riley's whole journey, and the man looks mid at best. This is a hookup. This is nepotism. This is getting hooked up because your brother is so-and-so. Not that he earned it. He should not be the offensive coordinator at Clemson. You heard it here first. 22 miles per hour is insane. Everybody go get on a bike and try to go 22 miles per hour. Steve, Sterling Thomas V in the draft was over 24 miles per hour. Was over 24 miles per hour. Forget the 22. 24. And he didn't get drafted. But yes, 22 is pretty fast. I've been clocked at 19 miles per hour. Just so we're clear. I've been clocked at 19 as a 30-year-old man. Yo, Rico, do you watch any boxing? Is that code for pornography? Do I watch any porn? Because like every adult male in this world, yes. But as far as American boxing, like in the ring with gloves, hard pass, bro. Shit's boring. I'd rather watch QVC. Mess around and find some lingerie on there. I can't do the rest. How do you think Kentucky will do this year? Cameron Hayes. I think Kentucky will do well. I think they have a good nucleus on offense. I think they'll do well. Their offensive line needs to be improved, but I think they'll do okay. We'll see if they can beat Louisville, but I don't think it's that bad for Kentucky. You like Malachi Corley. I know you like your production, and he brings it. I know you like your production, and he brings it. So Malachi Corley, if you guys don't know who he is, wide receiver, Western Kentucky. Ton of production, ton of numbers. I like his combination with Austin Reed. I like the two of them staying at school together, not hitting the transfer portal. I think the continuity, the chemistry is there. I like their chances of putting up some insane numbers. Yes, he'll be one of the top 10 wide receivers in the country next year, statistically. So, yes, I do like him. He's only a sophomore, so that's awesome as well. 19 miles per hour. What were you running from or to? I train a lot. I run a lot. Let's make this clear. I'm probably faster than that now. I don't know. Like, I'm really fast, guys. Like, in a sprint, I'm a problem. Shout out to me. I once raced my dog and beat her. Not anymore. All right, back to what we're talking about here. So here's Justin Hodges. I made a video about Justin Hodges. I'm not a fan of Justin Hodges. Arrested, kicked out of school. He was at UCF. He got kicked out of school for assault with a gun. Broke into somebody's apartment, and they beat him up. So the story goes, there was a girl. He gave her a jacket. He was dating this girl, hooking up with this girl. She came home to her boyfriend wearing some other man's clothes. That's essentially what happened. That dude put his hands on her, threw the clothes off of her, threw the clothes outside. She got upset. She called Justin Hodges and said, hey, bro, my boyfriend threw your clothes outside. It was a UCF-issued football jacket, undergarment, or like pullover jacket or something. It was from the school. So he and two of his boys show up with guns in hand. With guns in hand, they show up to punk this dude. They knock on the door. As soon as he opens the door, they punch him in the face. They try to put a gun in his mouth. They won't let them do it. And they're literally terrorizing this man and beating him up with a gun, taking back all the clothes. They take his cell phone. So now it's grand theft or theft. Now they're stealing shit because it's over a certain amount of money. He left his clothing on the ground. There's surveillance videos of it. There's all kinds of stuff going on. The girl set him up. This is straight up Travis Rudolph murder case status right here. And they have it all on camera. And they know who did what. And they still dropped the charges. They kicked him out of school, but the prosecutor dropped the charges because they couldn't determine who had the guns, who was holding them at what time, because they were wearing masks. They were wearing masks during the assault. But he was wearing a mask during assault with guns, beating up a guy because a girl told him to get his clothes back, to da-da-da-da-da. It's ridiculous. Kicked out of school. This is January time frame. They dropped the charges. That doesn't mean he's innocent. They dropped the charges, and all of a sudden he's in the portal, and he gets an offer from Ole Miss. Ole Miss, just after offering Chris Marshall. And they just kicked Chris Marshall out of school after he was already suspended from A&M. Don't worry, there's a guy named Josh Morton at Marshall. Been arrested 3 times in the last 18 months. These guys are just criminals. And anybody in the chat, anybody in my comments, they tell me the same thing. What are you, an op? What are you, a cop? You a narc? Man, let him breathe, man. Get off this. You're glazing. Da-da-da. All these kids that condone this shit. Bruh, you don't show up and use a gun to try to flex on somebody. It's not a game. You pull that trigger one time, your whole life is over. As a matter of fact, his life should have been over with the intimidation, with the assault and breaking into someone's place. But they dropped the charges because they don't ever want to lose a case. That's all it is. It's because prosecutors don't want to be known for having lost a case. You can lose a case if you can't prove who did what. So he got a second chance at life. And then Ole Miss gives him a scholarship. This guy should be playing JUCO somewhere. There are plenty of good players in the portal that you could have signed instead of this guy. And when I say good, I mean good-mannered. I mean the proper ethics and decision-making. I'm not okay with Justin Hodges at Ole Miss. I wish there would be a protest and he'd be gone. Someone should protest. Seriously. I'm not an advocate for players who have confirmed character issues. I tell you guys this all the time. I say something positive about every single player over here. Unless you have confirmed character issues. I'm not okay with it. Because you're taking a scholarship from somebody else. There's a high school kid out there walking around right now wishing he could play at Ole Miss, and he can't. Because they'd rather give it to this guy. Why? Because he was a 2-year starter at UCF. He's got NFL talent. He's got the right size. He looks the part. And it pisses me off. 6'2", 182. Played in 30 games, 14 starts. It sucks, man. It sucks. And then the complete opposite. Travell Mullen right next to him. Travell Mullen, Coconut Creek, Florida. You guys know him. He's Lamar Jackson's cousin. His brother, Trayvon Mullen, All-American. Used to play at Clemson. He was the MVP of the national championship game. Trayvon drafted. He won 2 national titles, drafted by the Raiders initially. Played there for a couple years. Played 31 games. Started 31 games for the Raiders. Gets traded to the Cardinals. Gets cut after 8 games. Cowboys claim him. Cut after 1 month. Now he plays for the Ravens with his cousin, Lamar Jackson. So Travell only had a scholarship to Indiana because his other brother was there, Taiwan. Taiwan Mullen just went undrafted in the NFL draft right now. He's actually, where is he at? He just got signed undrafted free agent with the Chargers. So now you got little brother. Probably the least athletic of the whole family, but it's an athletic family. Bunch of studs, bunch of guys who want to work hard and do great things. He had a bunch of FCS offers. The only FBS offer I knew of was Akron. Everything else was like Bethune-Cookman, Abilene Christian. Like I thought he was going to FCS, UT Martin, Samford, Mercer, shit like that. And then he ends up at JMU. Shout out to JMU. They're just using a last-minute scholarship, but they're getting Travell Martin from Indiana. It's not a big move. It's probably the best school he could go to, and I don't think he's good enough to start there. I think he's in the rotation. But he's young. He's young, so it is what it is. That's 2. Xavier Henderson going from Florida to Cincinnati. Once again, going to Cincinnati, going to play with your old quarterback, Emory Jones. They had a great combination at Florida. But Xavier Henderson is big and slow. He's 6'2", and he doesn't get off the line well. Doesn't create separation, but he does have a lot of catches. 22 games. He's not the big move here, guys. Let me tell you guys something. They don't even have it up here on this tracker. The guy you need to know about is Aaron Turner. Aaron Turner just transferred from UConn to Cincinnati. Cincinnati, they got a new coach, right? They got Satterfield. And some people don't like Satterfield, some people do. Cincinnati lost 7 wide receivers to the portal. Nobody's paying attention. They lost 7 wide receivers to the portal. They lost 2 to Wisconsin because they followed Luke Fickell. Cool. They lost 1 or 2 to Louisville, which is weird. They lost 1 to Texas State. There's 2 still out there outstanding. I mean, it's nuts. They lost 7 wide receivers to the portal. You know how many they signed, though? They signed 9. They signed 9 wide receivers. And in the winter, I was like, yo, they did well. Although they lost all these receivers, I thought they brought in some decent guys. They brought in a guy named Helton from Florida State. They brought in Ole from Washington State. Yeah, they brought in stud. They brought in guys who can compete. I was cool with it. I even made a video about this. But all of a sudden, Cincinnati brought in Henderson and Aaron. Like I'm telling you, Aaron Turner is the leading receiver from UConn last year. He's a little dog. Like he's like just a little beast of a person. For me, I think Cincinnati increased and improved their wide receiver production this offseason. Despite losing 7 wide receivers, I think they're even better at wide receiver. And with Emory Jones having continuity with Xavier Henderson, I think Cincinnati's okay. And here's the thing. Cincinnati has the easiest schedule in the Big 12. They're a new team to the Big 12, but they don't play Texas. They don't play K-State. They don't play Texas Tech. They didn't give them Murder's Row. They gave them a cakewalk, bro. Cincinnati's got it easy next year, and as easy as they're going to have it. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win all their games. I'm just saying they're poised to be okay because the schedule looks soft for Cincinnati. And they got good receivers. I'm just telling you, they got upgrades to receiver. Jeffrey Clark, I don't understand this move. I don't even understand why people were offering this guy. I'm just going to be real. 6 foot, 276, edge rusher, not long arms, not very big, kind of like a tweener. Like he should be a defensive tackle, but he's not big enough. He doesn't have enough weight. He can't really play DN as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't get a ton of sacks, but he gets something crazy. He gets tackles for loss. And he's got great moves on the line of scrimmage. Like he just wins on the line of scrimmage with good moves. Crazy clubbing, spinning, swimming. He just does move. Like, he just shows up with a plethora of moves. If he was a basketball player, this is the guy. This is hot sauce. This is the professor. This guy's crossing you over. He's getting past you, bro. He's weird. Jeffrey Clark is a weird player. And he had a ton of offers, and I didn't understand his offers. They were Troy, Arkansas State, Georgia Southern, Western Kentucky, Tulane. I was like, cool, man. He went to Arizona State on a visit, and he still went with Louisville. So shout out to him. I just think it's a weird thing to see a guy from Georgia State that didn't have a ton of production. Not a ton of production. 4.5 sacks. Got 2 years of eligibility left. But he's just kind of, I don't know. I'm going to watch him a lot. I'm going to watch him a lot at Louisville and just pay attention to what he does on the line of scrimmage with his moves. It's fun to watch on his tape. One of the few defensive ends that's fun to watch. So shout out to him. Devin Ford, knucklehead number 3 today, of people that should not have committed to their schools. Devin Ford couldn't play running back at Penn State. Never more than 300 yards rushing. Been there a long time. He's got 2 years of eligibility left, but he's been there 3 years. And you're talking about a guy in 2021, 14 carries, 61 yards. That's not production, guys. 14 carries, 61 yards. And then last year, he only played 4 games. He quit on the team. Because why? Because 2 freshmen passed you up in the depth chart? 7 carries, 37 yards last year. So 14 carries one season, 7 the next. You can't play at this school. And you transfer to Notre Dame? Are you kidding me? Notre Dame is deep at running back. Notre Dame's got running backs for days. Just as deep as Penn State. This is a lateral move. He's not good enough to make this move. Now, they lost Logan Diggs, right? They lost their second leading rusher. But Logan Diggs rushed for over 800 yards. Logan Diggs is a real running back. You think Devin Ford's going to fill that 800-yard hole? He's not. He's not that guy. I don't understand this young man. You could have transferred anywhere and been the marquee back. You could have gone to Group of 5. Could have went somewhere else, bro. You didn't have to do this. Look at the players ahead of him on the depth chart at Penn State. Kavion Lee was their leading rusher in 2020 and 2021. Penn State's leading rusher, the guy who started ahead of him, you know where he transferred to? Mississippi State. The guy better than you went to Mississippi State. And you go to Notre Dame? There's no running backs at Mississippi State. He's going to make sure he starts there. Devin Ford is not starting anywhere. Dumbest move outside of Harrison Bailey going to Louisville as a preferred walk-on. This just doesn't make sense to me, y'all. Doesn't make sense. I study this. It doesn't make sense to me. All right, that's 5. Let's go to the next. Let's go back to chat. I apologize. How do you think Georgia will do this season? I think Georgia will do fine. They have a good team overall. I don't think they're going to win the SEC. I don't have Georgia winning the SEC. How you like them apples? I don't have Georgia winning the SEC. Do we get penalized for background music here? I can't have background music that will it will cause a copyright issue, and then I can't make any money off my videos. So I don't do it. Sorry. Dude makes awesome decisions. Let's offer him. I don't know who we're talking about. Are we talking about yeah, you're talking about oh boy. You talking about Justin here? Justin Hodges? Okay. I like the sarcasm. I'm with you. Sounds like he may have left some DNA behind too, for sure. Ole Miss is taking pages from My Love Life. Oh, snap, Twitch. You say on your other video, you say, correct me if I'm wrong, the SEC ignored the red flag for talent. I don't think I'm wrong. You should do a review on Eric Singleton Jr., underrated 3-star. Did he transfer? Any decent kickers left out there? Not that I know of, Twitch. I don't know much about kickers. Hey, Top. What was the ticket price for the Natty when CU won it all? Just curious. CU at Nebraska games $4.59. I'm going to have to look into that. That's a great question. I'm going to go find out. CU versus, or there was no national championship back then. They were considered number 1 in the AP poll after their bowl game. There was no national championship. So it wasn't like there was a game that was for the Natty. It didn't work that way back in the 90s. Just so we're clear. They didn't start national championship games until the BCS national title, and I want to say that was 98. So there was no natty back then, but I can find out what the price of a game was that was important, like their final game. What do you mean by that statement? I don't know what you're saying, GOAT42. Who's going to win, Nebraska or Colorado? I got Colorado winning that game, but it could go either way. Rico, you know some things. I've been coaching for 35 years, college and high school, also academic advisor on the college level. Don't have no more inside than me because my brother, Dennis Thurman. Wes Green, shout out to you. I'm not sure what the statement is saying, brother. Help me out. Rico, you know some things, comma. I've been coaching for 35 years, college and high school, comma. Also academic advisor on the college level. Shout out to you. Don't have no more inside than me. Okay, I don't have any more inside. Okay. Yeah, so there might be some people out there who think I don't have any insider knowledge or I'm just out here talking. I'm a fan with a spreadsheet. What I would tell you guys is a lot of what I do is inferring conclusions. And if you don't know what infer means coming to a conclusion without a bona fide statement. So a lot of what I do is connecting dots when others can't or don't see it, while others wait for verified statements. So, for example, when I say a particular player chose to go to this school, I don't know why he went there. There's no statement on it, but I can study it and say, oh, wait, he followed his positions coach. There doesn't need to be a story written on it. I can just see that he's following his linebackers coach. He was his previous coach or his recruiter at this previous school. I do a lot of that. I do a lot of inferring. As far as knowing more information than others, I do talk to the players. I have a ton of messages in my DMs from players, from coaches. I get them every single day. So there is a certain amount of insider knowledge in that regard. I do have the trust of the players and coaches. They talk to me often, literally every day. That's not me gassing anything. If you see me make a video on a particular player, you will see me tag the player. That means I have talked to that player and they asked me to tag them in it. So if I'm doing a video on a player in the transfer portal, a spotlight video on somebody's film or a shout out to them or whatever it is, like hidden gem videos for the NFL draft, a majority of those were at the request of the player. And I know that sounds crazy because you're like, why is some player in the NFL draft reaching out to you? Well, I'm just a source of information like anybody else. They trust me. They trust my assessment and what I'm going to say about them. Today, I had conversations with a scout. I'm sorry, not a scout, an agent, asking me to advocate and for his player and look at his film and make a determination on his skill set and his talent from an agent. This is real. This is what I do. I do this for a living. So maybe I don't have any more insider information than you, Wes Green. Shout out to you. You've been doing this for 35 years. I've been doing this for 5 months. I'm just good at what I do, bro. I can just get in any industry in an instant and become relevant, and that's my gift. That's my gift, bro. So shout out to you. What's your thoughts on Arthur Sitkowski? I don't know who that is. I would have to look into who that is. I apologize. All of a sudden, fam, Colorado easily. Yep. You heard about the ticket or damn near $1,000 at CU? Yes, I made a video about it, guys. Yeah, they're $1,000 for the Nebraska game. The high-end tickets are. Who do you have winning the SEC? I like LSU to win the SEC. LSU. I like senior quarterbacks. I like LSU. I like Arkansas. I like Tennessee. Yep. I really like LSU. Georgia Tech is making the ACC championship game. If they bought tickets, they're definitely going. If they got themselves a charter bus, they can get everybody there. Is it going to be in Atlanta? They'll be local. Prime is managing. I'm up here now. I see tickets for $800. There you go. I need your reacting to that Kyle Trask Baker Mayfield video. Okay. So, it's in my thing. Let's go pull this up. Give me a second. The word is Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield are battling for dominance. And if you haven't seen the video, I'll pull it up for you guys. This is them throwing warm-up passes, and these are NFL quarterbacks. And if you look, that's Baker Mayfield on the first throw. He's just trying to learn his receiver's speed or lack thereof. So he missed. This is why you go to practice. You want to miss. Here's Trask. He's on the money. but they fall and drop it. Okay. But he's still in the money. Here's Trask again. Looking good on the pass. Oh, out of reach. Here comes big Baker Mayfield here, number 6. Let's see what he's got. He's throwing it. Clean. Okay, out of reach again. We're missing. It was a nice spiral. There's Baker Mayfield. There we go. It's the warm-up, y'all. It's the warm-up. You guys never did pat and go? Something called pat and go. You just pat the ball and the receivers go. Holding it a little long. Don't like that. But you just got to warm up. Kyle Trask is a big boy with a big arm. Here he goes. Patting it. I don't like the extra pat. Not necessary, but more power to him. But that first throw is what everybody's talking about. Come on, Ash. Ash liked the completion. So everybody's making fun of these throws and this competition, but still looks like anything. It looks better than anything Stetson Bennett ever threw in his life. So I'm cool with it. I got no beef with it. It's all good. It doesn't get me mad. 1990 split with Georgia Tech. Yep. You're right. No natty back then. Colorado beat Notre Dame 10-9 in the Orange Bowl. Snoozer. A lot of his conclusions come true, though. This is a fact, Seth. A lot of my conclusions come through because I do take my time before I put them out there. Think the loss to Illinois and tied Tennessee that year. Do you think Chase Lane will be a good transfer pickup? Yeah, I think. Yeah. The short answer is yes. I think when you get what you need and they get in early, they can contribute. Do you think Shiloh just started the era of over-the-top commitment videos? Can't wait to watch trash players with Hype Williams production commitment videos. Yeah, so I saw the guy who made the videos, a little white dude on the staff. There's a lot of people making commitment videos. More power to him. It's not like we weren't sure where he was going. I don't care. Shiloh is not an impact player by any means. People don't know this, and I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but Shiloh was a role player at best at Jackson State, and he played a hell of a lot more at South Carolina than he ever did at Jackson State. So I need people to just understand that. Is KJ Jefferson still at Arkansas? Yes, he's the starting quarterback. That's a good point. Senior quarterback, more polished senior sport. Yep. Coming into the pros, they have a better chance of doing good. 100%. Do you think Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield will win the mid-off? I like Baker Mayfield. I think he's a good player. Trask elbow position looks funky. Funky. What was your thoughts on Trask coming out? I thought he was a complete stud. I liked everything about Kyle Trask his last year at Florida. Second in the Heisman. I thought he had great numbers, and there you go. Do you think Alex Orji should transfer? Insane athlete, and I don't see a route for him to start at all. So I don't think he's an insane athlete. I think you guys get hyped up on certain videos. I've watched Alex Orji on the field. Nothing about him looks good. I've watched his tape. Nothing about it looks phenomenal. I don't think he's an insane athlete. I think he's grateful to have a scholarship and be at a school. Will he transfer? Sure. Let him transfer. Where's he going to go? Who knows? He could be a Malik Hornsby and end up on a bench somewhere. Like, it's just, I don't see the Alex Orji hype. I saw a video that somebody made of him, quarterback, whatever. This is why we got to be very careful of people who are making videos and saying random shit. I don't follow those channels. Somebody sent it to me, and I'm like, guys, stop watching this crap. Go watch the film. It doesn't look good. Like, none of it looks great. None of it looks explosive and powerful. The almighty power, yeah. I don't care. He's just fine. I don't like it, yeah. And RG3 saying there's an orgy in the end zone doesn't move me at all. He was hurt at JSU. He was there for 2 years, okay? He was there for 2 years at JSU. Never once played nearly as much as he did at South Carolina is what I'm saying. I'm not asking why he didn't play as much. I'm making my statement. He's a role player at best. It's not an impact transfer. There's nothing to talk about. This is why I didn't make a video about it. He's not an impact transfer. Transfers, there's all these kids in here I'm mentioning on the transfer portal right now. I didn't make a video about every single one of these guys. I make videos about impact transfers. I'll mention them in the live stream, but Shiloh is not an impact transfer by any means. He's just another guy in the secondary, and there's a ton of them. He struggled for playing time at Jackson State. He had 4 interceptions in 2021. That was still only second team in the SWAC. You're second team all SWAC, you're not good. SWAC, you got to be first team. It's just a conference of a couple of teams, bro. It's not like it's not the same. Everybody needs to understand that. Make sure you hit that like button. Thank you very much. He probably will have a better career stats than AR-15. AR-15 is... Shiloh is mostly good team energy. For sure. 100%. The depth they have at DB and safety doesn't look good for him. He needs to learn to wrap up. No, I don't think he needs to learn anything. There's just better, talented players there. That's all there is to it. You can't overcome the talent that's ahead of you. It is what it is. They recruited good players. Good camaraderie. Having your kid around, letting him get a college degree. Should start working on his master's degree. It'll be straight. Do you prefer Tua or Herbert out of college? Definitely Herbert out of those two. Definitely Herbert. Sark is a dog. Shout out to you. Sark is slightly better than 500 coach, definition of mid, respectfully. No. He's a great coach. He's had to clean up a mess. He's had to... You're only as good as your 5-star quarterback. And he's got one. And Ewers is good. They should have went undefeated last year, but his running back was trash in the important games. Go watch his stat line in the important game. Tell me what Bijan Robinson ran against TCU. Tell me how he did against Bama, TCU. Tell me when he fumbled the first play in overtime against Texas Tech. This is why I told you guys Bijan Robinson's not generational. I watched him in the biggest moments shrivel up like this, bro. It's all Bijan Robinson's fault. If we're going to ride you because you're our guy and we get into overtime and we hand you the rock and you fumble the first play and lose us the game, you ain't shit. Like, I'm not excited about it. We get to TCU and you rush for 15 yards, you're not worth talking about. And that's the problem, is Sark had a star player that shriveled up and did nothing when it mattered. So I'm not cool with it. Do you like signal calling in college, or should quarterbacks wear earpieces too? I think you should start doing what the pros do. I think the college game should be equivalent to the NFL in every way. I think it should be 2 feet for a catch. I think it should be the NFL 100%. That's your profession. That's what you're going to be. I want it in every way. Do you think Spears from Tulane will be solid in the NFL? I hope so. I hope he stays injury-free. I like the kid a lot. All right, back to the transfer portal. This is an important one right here. Alante Brown. Alante Brown going to Michigan State. What you guys got to know about Alante Brown is he's short. He's 6 foot, 190, but he was the number one player coming out of Illinois in 2020. He was the number one player for Scott Frost. And when he was a freshman, they did 40s on the team. He was the fastest player on Nebraska. Fastest player, best player, all this stuff. The only thing that went wrong is Mickey Joseph came over. And when Mickey Joseph came over from LSU, he brought a guy with him named Trey Palmer. And that knocked Alante Brown down the depth chart. So his first year, 3 receptions, no big deal. 2021, 3 receptions. Can't get in the starting lineup. Then last year, he finally gets in the starting lineup, 16 receptions, 191 yards, but Trey Palmer had 1,000 yards. So you got an NFL receiver ahead of you, but Alante Brown is fast. He's one of those gadget guys. I watched his whole tape. It's all bubble screens, like jet sweeps, quick slants, just anything to get him the ball in space and let him do his thing. He is yak, yak, yak waiting to happen. That's what I wrote on my notes for him. Yak, yak, yak. Yakety yak. Don't talk back, right? You young kids don't know what I'm talking about. But Alante Brown is going to go to Michigan State, and he's going to fill the role that Jaden Reed just left. Don't get it twisted. He's not Keon Coleman. He's not 6'4", something. Keon Coleman's role is going to be filled by Tyrell Henry. So Tyrell Henry's going to be the deep threat. Alante Brown's going to be your yak guy underneath. Your Zay Flowers. That's Alante Brown. Complete stud. I like him. I'm glad he's finally getting on the field and getting his chance to shine. Michigan State needs him. So shout out to him. 3 years of eligibility remaining. Here's what people don't know. He passed up an offer from Colorado, an offer from Cincy. And Cincy already has so many wide receivers. But he had a Colorado offer, and he passed it up to go to Michigan State. Go play for Mel Tucker instead. So shout out to him. Explosive player. That's the type of guy Colorado wants competing for playing time. He's good. So that's a good get. Shiloh Sanders, speak of the devil. I'm telling you guys, 13 games in 2 years at South Carolina. Played more at South Carolina, 32 tackles, than he ever got at Jackson State. Never got any tackles at Jackson State compared to what he did at South Carolina. He was a special teams guy. I think he's a special teams guy at Colorado. I really do. That's how I feel about him. Nothing too special. Danny Valenzuela. Danny's a JUCO guy. He plays center. So here's how it works. He graduates high school. He's 230 pounds. He needs to gain weight. He takes his diet serious. He starts lifting, and he goes JUCO. And after 1 year, he's 285 pounds, guys. He gained 55 pounds in 1 year by following his diet, doing what he's supposed to, and he finally ends up at Arizona State. Now, it took him a late offer. You know how we're waiting on these offers right now? And we're like, oh, how late can you sign in the portal? How late can you sign in the portal? He transferred from a JUCO to Arizona State, but he didn't get there till August. So he was behind the power curve all last season. August, and he had an offer from Tulsa, New Mexico State, Arkansas State, but those were like in July. And he turned them down because he wanted to go to the Power 5. This is why kids got to stop doing that shit. You were getting offers from the group of 5, and you could have been there in July, and you waited until you got a Pac-12 offer. And then you couldn't play. You got to the Pac-12, and they're like, oh, you're only 285 pounds. He's a small center. He needs to gain some more weight. But shout out to Texas State. They got another player. They always want another player. They got one. He's not from Texas, though. They got to win Texas back. He's from California. So Danny Valenzuela going to Texas State. He's depth. He's not going to see the field. Don't get it twisted. Pac-12 to group of 5, doesn't matter. He's a group of 5 talent. So more power to him. Logan Smothers. Logan Smothers, y'all. I'm going to make a video on Logan Smothers. He's going to Jacksonville State. And if you guys didn't know, Jacksonville State is not in Florida. Jacksonville State is Alabama. And he's from North Shoals, Alabama. So he's an Alabama kid. He goes to Nebraska. He's a dual-threat quarterback. He looks like Scott Frost. Shout out to Scott Frost, who recruited him. He looks like Scott Frost. He's a dual-threat white dude running around. His huddle tape looks good because he's just running everywhere. But he doesn't. He throws rainbows, bro. He throws rainbows. Now, the head coach at Jacksonville State, by the way, Jacksonville State is now FBS. They're now an FBS team. They're in the Conference USA. Their head coach is Rich Rodriguez. So Rich Rod just signed himself a Pat White lookalike, a Geno lookalike. Nah, he can't throw. He throws these rainbows, dude. Taste the rainbow. This dude is a Skittle dude all day. Lucky Charms. Excuse me, I need to sneeze. You usually have to sneeze twice, by the way. All right, that's my fourth guy. Oh, and the last guy. Let me see. Let me hit refresh real quick. Hunter Daewoo here. A lot of people have been asking about Hunter Daewoo. Let's see what happens. Okay, yeah, it's the last guy for tonight. So, pardon me. So Hunter Daewoo was a 4-star offensive lineman coming out of – no, 4-star defensive lineman coming out of high school. So everybody kept hitting me up. What about the 4-star? What about the 4-star? And I told you guys, he's not really good. He's not very good. I just don't see it. I know he's a 4-star guy in the portal. I know everybody's saying there's a 4-star guy in the portal. What about Hunter Daewoo? I'm like, nah, bruh. Daewoo, he's just not there. He's not good. And goes to prove it. He's going to Bowling Green. And now Bowling Green is the worst team in the FBS when it comes to transfers. Like, they just don't get anybody. There's no quality guys going there. They're struggling. That's the truth. I just got to keep it real. Bowling Green's one of the lowest ranked teams in my transfer portal rankings. They will be in the spring, and they're struggling. But they got themselves a former 4-star guy. Now he moved to offensive line. He used to be a defensive line guy, but his tape doesn't impress me. And this is one of the dead last teams in the portal. He's 6'2", 280. I don't know. I don't know who gave out 4 stars back in the day. I don't know who's doing it, but more power to him. So that's everybody in the transfer portal for tonight. Now, let's get to your guys' questions and wrap this up. All right. Let's see what we got here. Now that mini camps are done, any XFL or USFL standouts that sign NFL deals? So, Sean B., the way it works is the mini camps are done, and that's fine, but you get signed. There's 18 guys signed right now to NFL deals, undrafted free agent deals. There's 18 right now. There's going to be more. And they'll get their offers going in. It's not USFL guys, though. Let me be clear. It's XFL. USFL season's still going on. They cannot sign USFL guys until the season concludes. So once the USFL season concludes, they'll sign more of those guys, some of those guys. We'll see what happens. You guys got to remember, USFL, this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. USFL's TV contract is with Fox and FX. XFL's TV contract was with ESPN. So which one do you think feels more successful? XFL. Because of the propaganda, because of the hype machine of ESPN. They just have more advertising, they're at more accessible channels, more people watch them. It's a better produced product. This is the same reason you think the ACC and the SEC are the best college conferences. It's because they have a TV contract with ESPN, and they just put on a better product. Where Fox has contracts with Pac-12, Big Ten, whoever, and now the Big Ten and the Big 12, it just doesn't look as clean. It's not as appealing. There's no pregame show. There's no online. Have you guys seen Player 54, the online series? It's like Hard Knocks. ESPN just produces so much better. And that's why XFL looks so much more successful than the USFL. But there will be players from the USFL getting signed to NFL teams. You just won't hear about it. It won't get the same amount of push. It won't get the same amount of advertising. It just doesn't have as much traction because of the ESPN machine that it is. That's the reality of the situation. He's not that good, LOL. Don't know who you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about Shiloh. Or you're talking about Spears. Not sure. Played Terrell Henry in high school. He mossed all our corners. Yeah, I'm telling you, he's good. He's a good deep threat. I heard Cormani didn't report to Boulder. Any thoughts? No. No thoughts. Players will get there when they do. And if he doesn't get there, that's the nature of my whole channel. I report things after they happen. I don't give thoughts early. And players transfer all the time. Players don't pan out all the time. Could be a number of reasons. Maybe you got to go to summer school. You never know. Weaver will be the most productive wide receiver on the CU roster. Not a question, just stating. Agree. Yeah, I agree. People don't understand. Xavier Weaver, like people with production who've actually done the production are much better than potential and rumor and I saw this video and this guy looks fast and this. Who cares? There's a guy practicing day in and day out, gets on the field and does it against the opposition, and he gets his stats. And that's a prime example is that Xavier Weaver. So, yeah, it doesn't even matter. Big 12 in talks with CU. Don't care about talks or rumors, guys. You guys are just wasting your time talking about it. With continued viewership declining in the NFL, you think the NFL has gone too soft? No, Julio. I think people have other options. They'd rather watch other things. I think the population grows. People will watch it. No, the NFL hasn't gone too soft. The frustrating thing is the way they treat quarterbacks. The roughing the passer needs to be fixed, abolished, destroyed. The worst rule of all time is roughing the passer right now. The way it's subjective, the way they rule it, I can't deal with it. A guy falling on someone, it costs people games. It's nuts. Jacksonville State being in Alabama is wild. It's like Kent State being in Ohio. Okay. Bless you for sneezing. Thank you. Views ain't declining in the NFL. NFL making boatload of money and expanding to Germany and UK games. Yeah, the thing that's making the NFL, see, you don't confuse the two. The NFL is making a boatload of money. A lot of that has to do with gambling, but the NFL is making a boatload of money. That does not equate to viewers. Viewers' ratings can still be down with the NFL making a boatload of money. They make their money off TV contracts. Whether somebody watches or not, they get their deals before that. So it's a huge difference. Do you see any new offenses starting, or is it just more revisions of RPI and air raid? New offenses are innovated every single year. You just have to give people with the innovative minds an opportunity to do the play calling. That's all it is. I love what Zach Kitley's doing at Texas State. Go watch their offense. If you get a chance this year, watch Texas State. Watch Texas State. Watch Texas State. Or I'm sorry, Texas Tech. Texas State as well, but Texas Tech. Bless you, Mr. Rico. Thank you, Mrs. Rico. Talk about Rocket Sanders. Not much to talk about. He's a good running back. Thoughts on Kasim Weissman, quarterback from Douglasville, Georgia. Just another recruit. Hasn't played it down in college football. Not too much to talk about. Didn't look spectacular in high school and probably won't play for at least 2 more years. So I'm not going to waste time talking about guys who will not see the field for 2 years. With continued viewership declining on the NFL, please do not repeat your questions ever, Julio. I will get to your questions. I am behind in chat on purpose. Please do not repeat your questions. If NFL views are declining, what would you call NBA, NHL, and Major League? Oh, all those are declining. Why do you think there's no interest in televising Pac-12 games? It's not that there's no interest in televising Pac-12 games. There's no interest in overbidding or overpaying for a conference that may only be Pac-10 for a significant number of years. There's also issues with the commissioner choosing to play games at particular times that aren't advantageous to the network. So ESPN's not interested because on Saturday nights, they show UFC fights. So if you have fight night on UFC at this time frame, 9 p.m. or 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., why are you buying a conference that starts their games at 9 p.m. Eastern? Things like that. Conflicting interests. It just doesn't go well. And it's not worth bang for your buck. It's just not there. 4 months ago, ESPN wanted the Pac-12. There was tons of news stories on it. You guys weren't reading them, but I was. And they just changed their mind after they won their bid for a different conference. It's what happens. It's why you go to a restaurant and you see a bunch of food you want to order, but you can only pick one. And then once you pick it, it's too late to pick another one. You can't just order a bunch of them. You got to just pick the one that you're with, and you're full at this point. You're like, oh, we can't eat anymore. I would love to have ordered this other thing, but I blew it. Maybe the next time we come, we'll order that thing. That's essentially the same thing. For the viewers just coming in, he will get to your comment. Yes. Player 54 is really solid. Yeah, Steve, it's a good show. I liked it. Thoughts on Addison and Jaren Hall in Minnesota? So I love Addison in Minnesota. Jaren Hall shouldn't play. I love both the players. Good. Cormani said out of his mouth that he will be there June 11th. There you go. He arrives on the 11th. Thoughts on Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed, Packers wide receivers. Are they any good? Jaden Reed is a complete stud. I love everything about him. Wicks has drop issues. I've seen him drop a lot of passes, more than anybody else. If you check his PFF, he has the most drop passes of anybody with over 50 targets. So Wicks has a problem. He needs to learn how to catch. And Jaden Reed is a complete stud. NFL making business decisions with the roughing the passer rules. They know folks don't like watching backups. Correct. How do you feel about the Berkeley Bears this year? I really don't feel any way about them. I hope Sam Jackson plays well. I hope they do the best they can. But I think they're going to be one of the bottom 3 teams in the Pac-12. I like them. I think they're going to be the bottom 3. They did great in the spring transfer portal for sure. Who was that Jacksonville State upset a few years ago? I don't remember. When the Vikings draft review coming? Minnesota M. I'm doing it alphabetical. Boo, Vikings. All right, guys. Hey, great show. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate all of you who show up every night and hang out with us. It's important that we believe in one another. It's a movement. Watch the videos. Share them. Send them to all your friends. And keep it going. Because, your friends don't know. But Rico knows.
Move I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me